All right, welcome to lesson number 7 and the focus of lesson number 7. This is our second punctuation topic and we have applause for the semicolon. All right, so semicolons. Let's start by looking at how and where and why you might need one. Simple sentence. Grandma stays up too late. Doesn't need a semicolon at all, just a period at the end. Let's add another one. Grandma stays up too late. She's afraid she's going to miss something. No problem with this. You've got two independent ideas, two independent clauses. They're separated by a period. Not a problem. But what if we wanted to combine those two and make them one sentence so we don't have two simple sentences back to back? So now we've got Grandma stays up too late, comma, she's afraid she's going to miss something. But this doesn't work. We've connected two independent clauses with a comma. We've created a comma splice. Comma splice is a type of run-on sentence. It's when two independent clauses are joined together with only a comma. This is very, 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 very common in student writing. This is one thing that you should always be on the lookout for when you're proofreading your own papers. So, how do we fix this? We could insert a coordinating conjunction. That would solve our problem. Grandma's afraid she'll miss something, so she stays up too late. This is fine, no problem. We learned that you can connect two independent clauses using a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Since we have so and we have the comma before it, this is just fine. We need that comma there, in fact. If we created this sentence without that comma, even with the so, it would be wrong. The coordinated conjunction needs to have that comma with it. We could try subordinating one of these ideas by creating a dependent clause out of one of them. Grandma stays up too late because she's afraid she's going to miss something. Notice we didn't put that comma in there. One idea, that's our second dependent clause, our subordinate clause. Now it depends on the first one. So you don't need that comma in this instance. We put that dependent clause at the end of the sentence, so we don't need the comma. However, we can use a semicolon as well to solve this problem. So let's try using a semicolon here instead. Grandma stays up too late, semicolon, she's afraid she's going to miss something. There's no conjunction here, just the semicolon. No subordinating conjunction, no coordinating conjunction, just the semicolon by itself. The semicolon is connecting these two sentences. It's saying they're related to each other, so we want to connect them, but they're still two independent clauses. That semicolon does the job of the conjunction in combining them into a compound sentence. Sometimes you're going to see semicolons accompanied by conjunctive adverbs. Conjunctive adverbs are those words like however, therefore, nevertheless. You will see them used with a semicolon to combine two sentences in order to show their relationship. So here's an example. Grandma's afraid she's going to miss something, semicolon. As a result, she stays up too late. That as a result is used to show the relationship between the first sentence and the second sentence, and the semicolon is the one that actually separates them. If that semicolon that you see in front of you were a comma, you would have a comma splice. You should notice the pattern of punctuation here. Semicolon, your conjunctive adverb, and then a comma. That is always going to be the way it works if you're using a semicolon and a conjunctive adverb. This is typical with semicolons because we're we're combining sentences, but we want to show why we're combining them and what their relationship is. One other use of the semicolon, it helps us when we have really huge lists of things within sentences like this one. Whoops, went one too fast. So here we've got all of these people. We have their names, their titles, and their places. So this gets really confusing if we just use commas. The committee included Peter Worsthorn, professor of mathematics. Okay, we know that those commas are appropriate there because that's his title. From Marlborough, Connecticut. And that's just fine. We have that comma in between the state and the city. But then we have Virginia Villa, professor of English from Hartford, Connecticut. Paul Creech, director of RadTech from Essex, Connecticut, and John Leach, professor of nursing from Farmington, Connecticut. All of those words blend together if we are just using commas, so our semicolon can help us here. You just have to be careful where you put them. Okay, so here we've solved some of our problems. We're basically separating each person and his or her information from the next one. So in between Peter Westhorn and Virginia Villa, we put that semicolon. This helps to separate the elements from each other so that we can more easily process what this information is. Now it's very clear to see that professor of mathematics from Marlborough, Connecticut is actually connected to Peter Westhorn, and that when we get to that semicolon, we know we're being introduced to a new person and her qualifications. And now you know everything you'll ever need to know about using semicolons. A little bit sort of silly sounding perhaps, but really that's all there is to it. People seem to think that semicolons are this big mystery. They're really not. I find that semicolons are often misused by students with good intentions. They use semicolons because they think it makes them sound smart. They think it's something that many people don't know how to do, so they want to use it. But what I find is that a lot of students misuse semicolons. A lot of students will misuse them by putting them in the middle of a sentence where they don't have two independent clauses. If you don't have two independent clauses, you should never use a semicolon. That's the simple, basic rule, and now you know it. Stay tuned. We've got one more punctuation video, and that will be lesson 8 on quotation marks.